What are you considering when it comes to dealing with people who are whipping up this kind of behaviour from behind a keyboard, maybe in a different country?
Being a keyboard warrior does not make you safe from the law. You can be guilty of offences of incitement, of stirring up racial hatred. There are numerous terrorist offences regarding the publishing of material. All of those offences are in play if people are provoking hatred and violence on the streets, and we will come after those individuals just as we will physically confront on the streets the thugs and the obs who are causing the problems for communities.
And expressing opinions isn't election interference. Even when people express views outside your own country, and even when those people are very influential. And trust me, I say this with all humor, if American democracy can survive 10 years of Greta Thunberg scolding, you guys can survive a few months of Elon Musk. But what no democracy, American, German, or European, will survive is telling millions of voters that their thoughts and concerns, their aspirations, their pleas for relief are invalid or unworthy of even being considered.
Hey guys, fraud is at an all-time high right now. We all saw what's happening during the Biden administration, man. It was crazy. Like, I've heard horror stories of people who were fighting for their homes, their own homes, for 3 years in court. So basically, guys, what can happen is somebody can actually steal the title to your home. So the reason why that is a problem is because they will end up making you pay the payments, like, to the bank, and they will be the owners of your home. And I know this sounds crazy, but it happens, like, all the time. Like, this is a real problem.
Or they could, I think, use your name and make you sign off on something that you didn't sign off on. Yeah. And you'll be having a home title that you didn't even sign up for.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah.
And they will use fake IDs. They will do anything. And it happens so easy. Like, if you put any type of your information out there, they can do it. And there's really nothing the police can do about it.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Officer Tatum, y'all know him. He was a police officer, and he even said, there's nothing you could do about this. Like, the police just add you to the list. There's nothing you could do about this.
When was the last time you checked your home title loan? If you're like me, the answer is never. And that's exactly what scammers are counting on. That's why I trust Home Title Lock. Their $1 million triple lock protection helps you keep your home and equity safe. Here's what you get: immediate 24/7 monitoring of your property, urgent alerts if there are any changes, and if fraud should happen, their US-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title at no additional cost.
$1 million?
$1 million. They will spend $1 million to fight for you. Like, really just think about somebody to fight for you in your corner in your home, man.
So we've teamed up with Home Title Lock to give you a free title history report so you can find out if you're already a victim and access to your personal title expert. You get a $250 value just for signing up.
Go to HometitleLock.com and use our promo code Cartier, or click on the link in the description, and make sure to check out the $1 million triple lock protection details when you get there.
Let's go to HometitleLock.com and put the promo code Cartier. Go get there, y'all.
The United States of America is the leader in AI, and our administration plans to keep it that way. The U.S. possesses all components across the full AI stack, including advanced semiconductor design, frontier algorithms, and of course, transformational applications. Now, the computing power this stack requires is integral to advancing AI technology. And to safeguard America's advantage, the Trump administration will ensure that the most powerful AI systems are built in the U.S. with American-designed and manufactured chips.
AI is kind of a fancy thing. First of all, it's 2 letters. It means artificial intelligence. But ultimately what it is it's about machine learning. And so the machine is taught. And part of the issue here is what information is going into the machine that will then determine, and we can predict then, if we think about what information is going in, what then will be produced in terms of decisions and opinions that may be made through that process.
Now, these cavalier statements are shocking to American ears. For years, we've been told that everything we fund and support is in the name of our shared democratic values. Everything from our Ukraine policy to digital censorship is billed as a defense of democracy. But when we see European courts canceling elections and senior officials threatening to cancel others, we ought to ask whether we're holding ourselves to an appropriately high standard.
But when you present the suggestion that anyone is saying that it is time for a new generation, and they're running against the person who is president. And when presented as though it's an attack, I would like to let us all be clear that the attack is misplaced. If the point of it is that we need leadership that is strong, because we have a strong leader in Joe Biden.
Hey, JD is over there standing on business, though.
Yeah, he's telling all the countries, we're making all the chips, and y'all gonna buy the chips from us.
I bet we'll hear a lot about JD throughout this thing because, you know,
he's going to be the next
He's
man
our next, you know, he's the backup quarterback, you know.
Yeah.
He's Arch Manning.
He was the guy to send over there to do this. This was perfect for him.
He's letting it be known. We're making American chips, and y'all going to buy American chips.
The more I hear Kamala talk, I didn't even hear this clip, guys, but I just actually can't believe some idiots out there were thinking that this was the best choice to go to Germany and talk to these people, wherever they were.
You can see that she's very media trained.
Europe.
Like, she just steers the conversation in a way to say whatever she wants to say that has nothing to do with the question. That's why she would just ramble and never answer any questions.
First of all, it's two letters. It's two letters.
AI.
I
would think you was talking about Allen Iverson.
And it's computer learning.
The threat that I worry the most about vis-a-vis Europe is not Russia, it's not China, it's not any other external actor. And what I worry about is the threat from within. The retreat of Europe from some of its most fundamental values shared with the United States of America.
The First Amendment.
Now, I was struck that a former European commissioner went on television recently and sounded delighted that the Romanian government had just annulled an entire election. He warned that if things don't go to plan, the very same thing could happen in Germany too.
Boy, Europe, boy.
Now, these cavalier statements are shocking to American ears. For years, we've been told that everything we fund and support is in the name of our shared democratic values. Everything from our Ukraine policy to digital censorship is billed as a defense of democracy. But when we see European courts canceling elections and senior officials threatening to cancel others, we ought to ask whether we're holding ourselves to an appropriately high standard. And I say ourselves because I fundamentally believe that we are on the same team. We must do more than talk about democratic values, we must live them. And unfortunately, when I look at Europe today, it's sometimes not so clear what happened to some of the Cold War's winners. I look to Brussels, where EU commissars warn citizens that they intend to shut down social media during times of civil unrest the moment they spot what they've judged to be, quote, hateful content. Or to this very country, where police have carried out raids against citizens suspected of posting anti-feminist comments online as part of, quote, combating misogyny on the internet, a day of action. I look to Sweden, where 2 weeks ago the government convicted a...
Hold on now.
He's calling out all these people.
This is insane because, you know, the Democrats claim that they're the ones that care about democracy so much, right? We've heard that even the past few days that bald-head lady said, who's serious about censoring their American people? She said that out of her own mouth.
They don't want free speech.
Who's serious about censoring the American people? And JD goes to the European leaders himself, the people that has censored the people in their country, and say this is a problem. So he's trying to get their democracy more of a democracy than the left is.
Bro.
Like, this is insane. He did this to their face.
Said y'all need to stop that shit. If y'all
He said this is a problem.
He's trying to help Germany.
We've never heard the left do that. They've never been over there and said, hey guys, we need to stop this. This is a problem. We didn't know. This is insane that they're just doing this.
It wasn't a problem to them because they wanted to do this. To be honest with you, it was probably finna get to a point where they was finna actually censor people in America.
Yeah, it was. It was.
Christian activist for participating in Koran burnings that resulted in his friend's murder. And as the judge in his case chillingly noted, I look to Sweden, where 2 weeks ago the government convicted a Christian activist for participating in Koran burnings that resulted in his friend's murder. And as the judge in his case chillingly noted, Sweden's laws to supposedly protect free expression do not, in fact, grant, and I'm quoting, a free pass to do or say anything without risking offending the group that holds that belief. And perhaps most concerningly, I look to our very dear friends, the United Kingdom, where the backslide away from conscience rights has placed the basic liberties of religious Britons in particular in the crosshairs. A little over 2 years ago, the British government charged Adam Smith Connor, a 51-year-old physiotherapist and an Army veteran, with the heinous crime of standing 50 meters from an abortion clinic and silently praying for 3 minutes.
What?
Not obstructing anyone, not interacting with anyone, just silently praying on his own. And after British law enforcement spotted him and demanded to know what he was praying for, Adam replied simply, it was on behalf of the unborn son he and his former girlfriend had aborted years before. Now, the officers were not moved. Adam was found guilty of breaking the government's new buffer zones law, which criminalizes silent prayer and other actions that could influence a person's decision within 200 meters of an abortion facility.
Whoa.
He was sentenced to pay thousands of pounds in legal costs to the prosecution. Now, I wish I could say that this was a fluke, a one-off crazy example of a badly written law being enacted against a single person. But no, this last October, just a few months ago, the Scottish government began distributing letters to citizens whose houses lay within so-called safe access zones, warning them that even private prayer within their own homes may amount to breaking the law.
What?
Naturally, the government urged readers to report any fellow citizens suspected guilty of thought crime. In Britain and across Europe, free speech, I fear, is in retreat. I believe there is nothing more urgent than mass migration. Today, almost 1 in 5 people living in this country moved here from abroad.
I'm sorry.
People praying in their own homes, illegal. And y'all wonder why we had to get free from the Europeans. That's why we had to make America, so we can have religious freedom.
Hold on, bro.
George Washington and them was stood. Hey, bro, I ain't gonna lie, bro. America is the best country by far.
Easy.
It's so like not even close. Like it's actually like astronomical.
It's not
like
close.
it's like Usain Bolt in track.
But the
like,
Democrats
level.
tried to mess it up, and they got the people to believe the dumbass
But
people to
even though,
believe.
this is what I'll say. Even though when they were in power, even during that time, yes, it was bad. It was looking bad.
Oh, but we're still the
But it
best.
was still better, yeah.
But they were still
But
doing
now
a
we
lot
back
of,
on, we got our head coach back, America was looking, the boat was steering in the bad direction.
Think about this though. You let them immigrants in, ain't no telling me get them ugly baby pulling up. They don't want you to be Christian here.
All right,
But
bro,
don't
this
go.
dude-
I
But it's not the government gonna come
just-
arrest you.
Hey,
It's not illegal against the government. You
Yeah,
can't control
I'm
what
just
people
saying,
do.
though,
But
they
the
was-
government coming and getting people for praying.
They was bringing in extremists.
Well, to be
Nah,
honest
see, that's
with
not
you,
gonna happen here. You know why?
Well, they was trying to get rid of that.
strapped. Yeah, you remember the story? But
They
they
was trying to
didn't
get
know.
rid- they was
That's
trying
why
to get rid
this
of
is
a lot of
America. Even when they were in office. That was dead in Texas.
So-
The Venezuelans tried to take over a Buc-ee's in Texas, and everybody was strapped, and they said that's dead, and they ran out of that hole.
you know what's
This is
crazy?
insane, guys.
Hold on, bro. It's like this is real life
Nah, this is
attack
crazy.
on Christianity.
No,
Like,
this is outrageous.
I
This is
ain't
why
never-
America was created, to get away from this, and they back on that.
They was trying to bring that to America too. Like that's
They're arresting
That's
people for
Hitler
praying.
activity. That's not Hitler activity.
that is all
it
that
is.
is. That is. You
You're
can't
not
pray.
getting killed, but that's still bad.
You're
bro.
getting arrested for praying
It's
in
in
your
that
own
Okay,
home.
that's bad. I'm just
That is
saying,
extremely
but how,
bad.
Okay, that's bad, and that's
That
more a
doesn't
threat to
happen
democracy.
in
But how far did they take it to
developed
call,
countries.
to call Trump a Nazi? That's a whole nother level of.
No, bro.
It's Kim
That's
Jong
where-
Un,
I'ma
then Hitler.
That's Kim Jong Un
No,
telling him you
Kim
can't
Jong-
pray.
Yeah.
You can't pray in your own house.
Okay, that is.
That's
That's
Kim
the
Jong
highest
Un.
level of-
That is like the worst
highest
thing.
level
Hitler's
of
the
oppression.
highest level of a high.
That's a Hitler move. Is
That's
what
how
we're saying.
what Hitler did.
To call Trump that though is just crazy. But I mean,
we know that's outrageous to call
they
a
didn't-
name.
during
But
this
you're
video-
not to call someone a name. Yes, it's bad. But to arrest someone for praying in their own home,
That's too crazy. Like
no, that's like the highest level of.
and they crying by state to state abortion.
That is, of course, an all-time high. It's a
getting
similar
mad.
number, by the way, in the United States, also an all-time high. The number of immigrants who entered the EU from non-EU countries doubled between 2021 and 2022 alone, and of course, it's gotten much higher since. And we know this situation, it didn't materialize in a vacuum. It's the result of a series of conscious decisions made by politicians all over the continent and others across the world over the span of a decade. We saw the horrors wrought by these decisions yesterday in this very city. And of course, I can't bring it up again without thinking about the terrible victims who had a beautiful winter day in Munich ruined. Our thoughts and prayers are with them and will remain with them. But why did this happen in the first place? It's a terrible story, but it's one we've heard way too many times in Europe and unfortunately too many times in the United States as well. An asylum seeker, often a young man in his mid-20s, already known to police, rams a car into a crowd and shatters a community.
Damn.
How many times must we suffer these appalling setbacks before we change course and take our shared civilization in a new direction? No voter on this continent went to the ballot box to open the floodgates to millions of unvetted immigrants.
This is why I cannot just ignore what we heard before. I cannot not comment on the speech we heard by the US Vice President. We fight for your right to be against us. That is the motto, one of the mottos of the Bundeswehr, and it stands for our democracy. This democracy that was just called into question by the US Vice President, and not just the German democracy, but Europe as a whole. He spoke of the annulment of democracy, and if I understood him correctly, he compares the condition of Europe with the condition that prevails in some authoritarian regimes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not acceptable.
They can't breathe!
Yeah.
So they can call Trump Nazis, but if we drop it right now, are we wrong?
This is not acceptable. This is not the Europe, not the democracy where I live and where I conduct my election campaign right now. And this is not the democracy that I witness every day in our parliament. In our democracy, every opinion has a voice. And it makes it possible for parties that are partly extremists, such as the AfD, and they can campaign just as any other party. This is democracy.
Thank you, America.
And if the Vice President had the opportunity to switch on his TV set when he arrived yesterday, he would have seen one of those candidates in primetime TV. By the way, we even admit media that spread Russian propaganda, and the representatives of the federal government answer their questions. Nobody is excluded. But democracy does not mean that a vociferous minority will automatically be right, and they cannot decide what truth is. It does not mean anyone can say anything, and democracy must be able to defend itself against extremists that try to destroy it. I am happy to live in Europe where this democracy is defended every day against its internal and external enemies. And therefore, I would like to explicitly contradict and oppose the impression that Vice President Vance suggested here, that our democracies oppress and silence minorities.
They do.
We not only know against whom we defend our countries, but also what we defend it for. It's for democracy, for freedom of opinion, for the rule of law, and the dignity of each and every one, ladies and gentlemen.
This is their Buttigieg right here.
Ladies and gentlemen, but unlike the Vice President, I would also like to focus my speech on the most pressing questions of European and transatlantic security.
Niggas spoke English the whole time.
The last days have confirmed what many had speculated for months. The United States are pushing for a quick peace settlement between Russia and Ukraine, and they expect Europe to take the lead in securing any agreement that follows.
So y'all don't want Russia, Ukraine to stop?
Hold on, go back.
No.
So why he said that like it was a problem?
They don't want Russia, Ukraine to stop?
They probably getting money off that.
He has to be a super liberal, first off.
Well, it makes sense because it's Germany. They probably don't really like anybody that's,
on the right.
Yeah.
Because
you know who
I know,
too
bro,
far
but they're
over there.
literally like locking people up for
praying in their home.
not telling people like calling somebody, I guess, by their appropriate gender. They're
Well-
locking people up for that.
America.
Like
I can't worry about what they got going over there, man. They tripping, and that's what. Hey, I'm sorry. That's
we
on
don't.
them.
We
I'm
don't
sorry.
actually like sit down
We
and
gotta
just
worry
really
about us.
be appreciative to be in America.
No, yeah, bro.
Like actually just watching this content.
Ride with your windows down, put on God's country.
Like I actually
that's
am
a
so
real
proud
song.
to be in America, and this shit pisses me off because JD Vance said nothing but right shit and just the correct thing and the right most moral thing to do in a nation, and they still got pretty upset what he said. Like I just don't get it.
Because he pretty much called them totalitarians. Totalitarians.
If you're not allowing free speech and you're not allowing people to pray in their home, what is that?
Totalitarian.
That's outrageous.
So, I'm actually like watching this type of content. I'm willing to die for my country.
Hold on, I got one big question.
You gotta be at this point.
I just got a question.
If
Why
it came down
nobody?
to it, you know,
Gotta die for
I just
this
watched
country.
Captain America the other day. It shit had me ready to go out there. And,
Hey man, cause this shit pisses me off, man. JD said nothing but right, and I don't understand.
Why they don't want
guys.
to pay for the country that's beside them, but we gotta pay for it?
man, hey, they gonna pay for it. Trump gonna make a pay for it. Remember, he said that a while ago when he was campaigning. He said they're gonna help. And,
Hey,
and
JD.
they don't want to do that.
I'm riding behind you 100%, brother.
Yeah, we rocking with JD, man.
You already know what it is.
Arch
JD.
Manning.
They play with you. They didn't play with us.